Hold on. Can you guys hear me?
No.
Awesome. All right.
Yes.
So, all right. So on my screen, you should probably see my Stratios, right? Who is not watching my stream right now? All right, everybody's there. Okay. So my goal here is to help everybody figure out how to one get into a wormhole and to avoid being lost in a wormhole and three how to navigate a wormhole. It's going to take a little bit of some previous training that we did, which is scanning. I taught people how to scan. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I'm not going to go into detail on scanning because we're limited on time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undock and try to find a wormhole. One of the most important things that you need to understand about a wormhole is that everything is, for the most part, hidden. When you jump into a wormhole, the only thing you'll probably see on your overview is any stations that you're given access to, or planets. If you leave, let's say you go into a wormhole and you leave the wormhole location and you have not bookmarked it, you will lose that wormhole and you have to scan it down. I really doubt there's going to be a wormhole in here, so let's just, yeah. So I'm going to go to, I don't know, let's go perimeter first. So first things first, we need to find a wormhole. So in order to scan out a wormhole, you're going to need a core launcher or an expanded with core probes. So I should probably have found a wormhole before I actually started this lesson.
We get to see the process of finding a wormhole.
Yeah. So when a wormhole is not even scanned, it's usually going to be a signature. So it's going to be red on your screen, and you have to scan it down. If it's not bookmarked, at least, if someone has it bookmarked, you can find it. But it looks like there's 2 cosmic signatures. I really doubt Perimeter has a wormhole in it, but I'll check. So usually when you're going to go scan stuff down, you usually want to be cloaked. So I'm going to launch my... okay, I can't do it right now. I'm going to launch my probes and go scanner. Or go cloaked. As soon as I can. So I have 2 cosmic signatures. You open up this with Alt-P. I just launched my probes. Let me open up my system. So now I'm looking for wormholes. I should have made it bigger. I'm not really going to explain this because I went through over this last time. Let's hope that this is a wormhole. You guys can still hear me, right? Hey,
No.
What, you can't hear me? Hello? Alright.
No.
We can hear you.
Alright. Damn it. Zane, stop doing that.
I can't hear you.
Then put on your headset.
So I found a wormhole first try. How lucky am I? So usually when you're... Okay, Bernelli. All right, so found a wormhole. First things first, whenever you enter a wormhole, the very, very first thing you should always do, and we have a folder for this if you want to share this with other people as well in the corporation, is when you join a wormhole, if hopefully there's nobody camping the other side. I'll cry if they are. One, it usually doesn't really put you next to the wormhole, even if you do freaking say warp to 0. You're gonna jump into the wormhole eventually. I should probably set these up. Alright, so first things first, you are in a wormhole. I am in a wormhole right now. Jesus is Lord, okay. I don't see anybody. So very first thing, always Control B. Mark the wormhole. And set it to a, like, either your personal or to the Unsold Mercenary Force. Never put in the permanent one. Set it for 2 days. This one is a pretty stable wormhole. If a wormhole is flickering a lot, like if you see these the arms here around the wormhole, and you see that moving around a lot, that means the wormhole is about to collapse. Right now it's pretty stable. That means it's relatively new, and it's beginning to decay, but it will probably last another day. So it's good for 2 days. So I'm gonna mark it to high sec for 2 days. And that's the very, very first thing you always do when you join a wormhole. If you don't do that and you warp off and you forget your scanners, you are pretty much stuck. And you're going to have to do... I should probably click myself. You're probably going to have to ask for help. Alright, so now you're in a wormhole. What do you want to do? So I'm in a wormhole. There's a lot of stuff in here. So in this particular wormhole, it looks like there's a lot of combat sites already found or available. And these are all sleeper sites. I'm not going to do a sleeper site because I don't trust this ship to do this. What kind of wormhole is this? Let's see. So one of the things you'll probably want to do when you're in a wormhole is figure out, okay, what kind of wormhole are you in? This is a class 2 wormhole, so this is actually one of the smaller wormholes. One of the things that you can do in terms of figuring out, okay, if I'm looking at a wormhole, what kind of wormhole is this from the outside? The first thing you can always do this. You look at the name. This one's like K162, right? So I type that in. You take that information and you go to a website. I forgot exactly the website name, so let me figure it out right now. Right now I am Googling up wormhole identifier.
You can't just use .land?
Maybe you can. Hold on. I never used .land for this.
You can actually take the system identifier, the J numeric identifier, and put that in the dot line. It will give you a lot of information on that particular wormhole system.
Yes, but that involves you actually going into the wormhole. If you're like, let's say that I'm outside the wormhole, like I haven't jumped into the wormhole at all. I'm inside K space, right? Like, or regular space. I'm in perimeter, and I want to identify, okay, what kind of wormhole is this, right? Without actually jumping into it, you'll take the name of the wormhole, which is wormhole letter number. And there's a website you go to. I think it's linked to the Eve University. Visual, no. It's not visual. I'm trying to find the website right now. Give me a second. I think it's called Wormhole Attribute. Okay, so yeah, so the number, it's called the letter and number of the wormhole. Wormhole K162. Someone just jumped in, I think. No, okay. K162 is the attribute, so it's a wormhole type. So I'm gonna post it in game, and this is the page I'm on. So you can take the K162, go into that chart, and find the thing, and it says generic exit wormhole. That means it's a exit wormhole to HiSec, which is true because I just came from HiSec. So if I were to scan another wormhole and I found a wormhole called, okay, it says wormhole L477. I go onto the chart I linked in Corp Chat. I look for L477 and it says, okay, it's a class 3 wormhole and the maximum kilogram size is 2,000. So that means if your ship is beyond, and then it also says maximum individual. So what is it again? So the maximum size your ship can be for that specific wormhole is 300,000. So if you're flying what's above 300,000? Dreadnought, Zane?
Freighter.
Freighter? So you can't put a freighter in there. So this, if you're trying to do a wormhole chain to HiSec from nullsec, and this wormhole maximum size is 300,000, this is a dead wormhole. You cannot use it. You get what I'm trying to say? Let's go for an example of a wormhole you can use. So for example, there's a wormhole class called K329. It takes you to nullsec, 00 space. Has a maximum of 5 billion kilograms. And the individual size that your ship can be to jump into it is 1.8 bill. So pretty much, I think that's pretty much every ship in the game except for a Titan, maybe, right? Let me check. So I'm looking at a Dreadnought, and their maximum size is 17 mil. So that's good. Let's try Super Carrier. Super Carrier is 58 mil, so we're good. So pretty much every ship in the game can potentially go in here. 145, yeah. So in a K329 wormhole, you can actually jump into it with any ship. But there's also a thing with there are mass modifiers. So if you use a battleship with a bunch of what's the name of those mass enhancers, Zane? That you put on battleships to roll a wormhole. I don't remember the name, but that's what people do. So that's how you identify a wormhole. So this is a K162 wormhole, as you can see in the name right there. You can see it in the selected item. That means this is a too high sec wormhole. Another thing you can do with these wormholes, if you look at the wormhole inside of it, some skilled players who've been playing around with wormholes for a long time can actually identify the system that the wormhole takes you by looking at the actual the colors inside the wormhole. But I'm not skilled enough to do that. But there's some people who can do that. So let me actually try to identify another wormhole. So I'm going to go to a random planet here.
Warp drive active.
So since I have that wormhole, that specific wormhole bookmarked, I can go back to it. If you notice, there's nothing on my overview at all. There's no stations. There's no planets. Or the planets is in my celestials, but there's no anything here. So I'm pretty much, for some people, I'm lost. So I'm gonna go actually cloaked. There is a local, but in a wormhole there is, like, it doesn't tell you who's in local unless they chat. So right now, as far as I know, there's 1,000 people in here. Looking at my D scan, someone has been blowing people up in here. There's nobody else in D scan, so I'm pretty much safe. They might, if anything, they might have warped away. There is an Astra house, so that means someone could potentially live in here. So I'm gonna actually scan some more stuff down. So let's say I want to scan this APK signature. I do not want to see this freaking directional scanner. Oops. So let's see what kind of, let's see if this is another wormhole. While I'm scanning this down, does anybody have questions so far?
Yeah, what's the mining situation like in a wormhole?
Rivals nullsec. This is actually a mining session location right here. The symbol is a asteroid belt.
What about PI? Can you run PI in wormholes?
If there's moons, yes, there's PI. So in this system, there is moons. If I go to my celestials, or planets, and then the planets do have, or should have, some of them might have moons, not all of them. So in this one, it doesn't actually look like there's moons. It's yeah. So this one has moons. It has one moon. This one has one moon, and so this one has two moons. So you can put two PI. So in terms of PI, you want to actually like identify what's a good moon. Actually, no. What am I talking about? What am I? Planets. Yeah, there is planets. So yeah, you don't need no damn moon. Sorry, I confuse people there. Yeah, so there is PI. PI is really good. It rivals nullsec, if not better than nullsec, because PI is based off of the activity of the moon, and if no one's actually mining the planet, then there's more resources on the planet. So yeah, you can do a lot of good things in a wormhole for that. On top of that, there's no NPCs in here, or NPC controlled customs office. Like this one right here is owned by this guy, whoever these are, King Kong apparently, and they have a tax rate of 3%. So if you end up deciding to use this wormhole for PI, you can actually take it from here, but be mindful that PI in a wormhole, you would want to live in that wormhole in order to do PI, because as you saw earlier, it says that the wormhole will destroy itself after 1 day. So if you're not living in the wormhole, and you're like, if you're stationed in perimeter, that wormhole will be gone in a day. You'll probably lose that wormhole forever. So yeah. I don't know what I was talking about in terms, like, I don't know why I was trying to look for moons. Sorry about that. Alright, so back to this. So that was a gas site. Let me look for this. There's usually always multiple wormholes in a wormhole. There's usually the one that you come through, and then another one that exits. So let's see if I can find something else. So these are all. These symbols right here are asteroid belts, so they usually have good stuff. Usually when you're clearing asteroid belts, the rats that come in there. The rats that come in there are sleepers, and they're pretty strong. They, depending on the class of the wormhole and the class of the asteroid belt, it can become bigger They can be bigger. They can go from frigates all the way up to battleships in terms of sleepers. And they do hurt. But I was clearing out some cruisers the other day in the site, or in a wormhole. I didn't know, wormhole. I was clearing out some sleepers in a wormhole once, and they were all cruisers, and I think I made 1 million per cruiser. So it's really good. So let's go to this. Let's go to this wormhole, and then let's identify what kind of wormhole it is.
Warp drive active.
So if you never actually used a covered ops cloak, one of the benefits of a covered ops cloak is that it allows you to move around while you're cloaked. So right now I'm cloaked, no one can see me. There is nobody still here with me. So I'm pretty safe right now. So this is a D382 wormhole. So what is that? That is a class 2 wormhole with a limit of 300,000. So once again, if you're a if you're in a capital ship, you cannot fly through that. Any questions so far?
Why do you say covert as covert?
Because I'm weird and I guess that's what Americans say it as. How do you pronounce it, Zane?
I'm American and I say covert.
The proper pronunciation is covert.
What did I call it?
You use some crazy New York accent. Talking about covert.
Covered. Covered ops. Whatever. Covert. Okay. I'll try to use it more. So any other questions besides my bad language? So one thing you can do in terms of keeping track of wormholes, what you could do is this. You can pretty much label, okay, this one goes to class 2. And based off how the activity around the wormhole is, this one looks like it's like might be like half a day. And it's about the same as the other one. So this one looks fine. So I'm gonna put it for class 2. I'm gonna actually jump through this. I'm actually gonna return always remember to recover your active probes, because you don't want to lose these. Jump. This might take a while. Actually, I'm gonna warp away and then warp back in. It might take a while to jump in.
Warp drive active.
So y'all allow yourself a little bit of leeway. Bring extra sets of probes.
Yep, I have, I think 16 myself. Oh, okay, yeah, I have a total of 16. And this is some of the loot. I did half of a sleeper site. Like only half. No, I did a relic site without actually like clearing it, so I wasn't able to hack anything. And I cleared out half of the room. Like I did 2 or 3 waves, and I still had like 2 waves left. And I got jumped by some people. Zane, you remember that when I got jumped by the Proteus, the Astero, and the Curse, and I got out.
Yeah.
So this is the loot I got from it. So from clearing all that, or trying to clear that, and I didn't even collect it all. Like I still had to empty you out and everything. I had to jump away, and I got minus that 22 mil from just one site that I did not finish clearing. I could have still hacked the site, so that was potentially up to another 100 mil right there, and I could have finished looting the site, because I still had, I think on my screen, 2 battleships, 3 cruisers, and each cruiser was giving about 1 million loot. I think the loot is, I actually did not collect any of that loot, so I probably had a good 30 something mil worth of loot in there that I did not collect, plus my MTU. But let's go back to my wormhole.
Warp drive active.
Nobody's on D-scan. Oh, I forgot. Damn it. Okay. Whatever. I'm a dumbass. Whatever. So knowledge check. Who can tell me what's the first thing I do when I jump into a wormhole? Liquid? Can you tell me?
Save the location.
Yep. And what do I? And based off of my knowledge, what did I use to like? What's my way of typing it out? Like, help me name this wormhole.
Oh, you name it as where it leads to. So you'll do arrows and then high sec.
All right. So yes. So, oh, this is a K56. So generic wormhole out. So once again, label it. So if you're trying to make a chain to high sec, right? What you typically do is this. Even if it doesn't take you to high sec, like directly, you still label it like such. That's the best way to do it. So I know for a fact that if I go through this wormhole, it'll take me to the direction of high sec. On top of that, if you want to label it further and make it 300K.
Cloak up.
Yeah, I tend to do that. I'm not. So this one is pretty stable, so I'm gonna put it for 2 days. And yeah, so I have a label for two high sec, 2HC2 300K limit wormhole. You can label it the way that you want. That's just how I label stuff. And in here, there's a lot more moons. So this is actually a good moon system. It looks like there's a C2. It's actually a smart bomb. It has a lot of bombing benefits. It's pretty cool. Not that many planets, but there's a lot of moons. So I'm gonna go to the sun.
Warp drive active.
Is there anybody here? Nobody's out. A couple Athenors, a couple gas planets. Hey, I went through a planet. Or I went through the sun. So let's see what else I can scan down in here. Let's go for this one. And you can pretty much figure out where you're, like, even though I don't have the wormhole scanned, you can pretty much figure out where it's at. Like, obviously I know that either Q is most likely QDQ here, 350, that's going to be my wormhole. Or it's going to be KLMM. So I'm going to scan those down later. I'm hoping to find a relic site, to be honest. Hey, nice. And I can show you what I do in a relic site. Let's hope that this is a faction relic site. Nope. So when you go into a wormhole, there's multiple types of there's multiple things you can find in here, right? So just like in null site, you can find combat sites, you can find mining sites, you can find planets, and you can also find data and relic sites. Well, there's a different type of relic site that you find in wormholes that you can't find in nullsec or highsec or lowsec, and it's called sleeper sites. To identify what a sleeper site is, if it doesn't have a faction name, it's a sleeper site. So if it doesn't say Garusta or something like that, Forgotten Garusta or something like that, it's gonna be a sleeper. So this is a Forgotten perimeter. So if I were to warp here right now, there's gonna be a bunch of sleepers in here. I'm cloaked, so I'm fine to go within 100. So as a non-combat pilot, like someone that you just want to do sites and get the money out of it, and you do not want to actually fight anything, the sites that you want to look for do not have the should not have the name perimeter in it. So as you see, there is some patrollers. This ship can kill those, but I don't feel like getting ganked. So what the hell's a black ball? Okay. So let's see if I can find another. And there's some relic stuff. Let's go back to the thing and let's find another one.
Warp drive active.
Alright, let's go for this. Let's go for that. So that's a wormhole. So let's go see what kind of wormhole this is.
Warp drive active.
I got my chart up. And over time, as you're doing these, and you can memorize the different classes of wormholes through their names. So this is a B274. B274 is a high-sec wormhole. So that means if I take this wormhole right now, it'll take me to high-sec. So I'm actually going to conclude the video. I'm a YouTuber. I'm going to recall my thing, and I'm actually going to go through this wormhole and see what kind of high-sec. So this is a green and orange one. What do you think, Zane? You think it's going to take me to Galente space?
Who's to say?
It's green, so I'm thinking it is.
That sure is pulsing a lot.
Yeah, it's about to blow up. I'm in high sec now, as you see. This wormhole's gonna die in about very soon. It's reaching the end, so within an hour it will blow up itself. I'm in Kinmark. Where is this at?
You're in a Mars space Genesis region.
Nice. And that's how you identify wormholes. So anybody have questions on that? This is actually a lot further than like if I want to. So I'm gonna go back through here. I'm gonna go route myself back to.
Warp drive active.
So one thing that you should know about jumping into a wormhole is if you jump in and out of a wormhole, you become polarized. If you become polarized, you can't jump again for a while, for like 2 minutes, or through that wormhole at least. I don't remember if it is for all wormholes or not. Nope, so I can actually jump through this one. So that one back there, I could not warp through no more until that polarize is done. almost. As I'm traveling back, any other questions? Move faster. There's a cormorant here. Question is how far?
Not on grid.
He's not any of the planets. Hmm. Should I? You think I can take on a cormorant, Zane? Well, actually, I can't because I don't have any. I don't have a way to tackle him.
I got a question. So, in order to go into a wormhole, do I have to scan the wormhole with probes, or can someone scan it and I just fly into it?
Someone can scan it for you. They can bookmark it for you. As long as you have that bookmark for you, you can get it. Go to it. Bet you $5 in here. I wonder if I can. What's a cormorant doing in here, anyways? Trying to do some PvP. He's not in here.
How do you pull open D-scan?
Hit V.
Thank you.
He's in. He's warping around. Okay, he's gone. Alright, go back home.
Warp drive active.
Okay, that was like 5 seconds of excitement there. Alright, so do you have any final questions before we end this session? Alright, with that said, that concludes. Do you have anything to add to it, Zane? Like anything I should go over before I leave this wormhole?
No, just remember to pull your probes in before you jump.
Always.
I had
There
to
is.
rescue someone last night because he scanned the wormhole down, jumped in without pulling his probes in, and then warped off without bookmarking his exit hole. So yeah.
So one thing that there is an organization. I forgot which group it is, but there is a few people who go around with the kindness of their hearts, go around wormholes and putting like containers and stuff, mobile depots and stuff like that in space for people to use. and they're called like something. I forget the name of them, but they're usually used. They're called like something along the lines of like emergency kit or something like that. So if someone does lose their probes or they're lost or something like that, they forgot their bookmarks, stuff like that. So there are some people who go around and book and put mobile depots in wormholes for anybody to use, and inside the mobile depot there is kits that you can use to get yourself out.
Signal cartel. They won't leave a mobile depot because if they leave the depot, you can't get in it. But they'll definitely leave a little container. Yes, it's gonna have probes and stuff, so you can probe your way out.
Yeah, I never used one, so I never actually paid attention too much to it. But I'm back in perimeter. I got myself back out, and that concludes the wormhole lessons.